The winter winds howled through the mountain pass, carrying with them the scent of snow and something else, something ancient and desperate. Jasmine stood at the entrance of her stone cottage, her weathered hands wrapped around a steaming mug of tea, her eyes scanning the darkening horizon. 20 years of mercenary work had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, every fiber of her being screamed that something was approaching. She wasn't wrong. Through the swirling snow, a small shape stumbled forward. At first, Jasmine thought it might be a wolf cub, lost and separated from its pack. But as the creature drew closer, she realized with a start that this was no ordinary animal. Scales, iridescent even in the dim light, covered its small body. Wings torn and tattered dragged uselessly behind it, and those eyes golden, ancient, and filled with a desperate plea locked onto hers. A dragon, a baby dragon, no larger than a hunting dog, collapsed at her doorstep. Most people would have run. Dragons, even young ones, were feared throughout the realm. Their kind had burned villages, toppled kingdoms, and filled the nightmares of children for generations. The standing order in every human settlement was clear: kill dragons on sight. No exceptions. Jasmine had killed 3 adult dragons in her career. She knew their weak points, their patterns, their fury. She had the scars to prove it. The tiny dragon wheezed, steam rising from its nostrils in weak puffs. Its ribs showed prominently through its scales, and one of its legs bent at an unnatural angle. It looked up at her, too weak even to raise its head properly, and made a pitiful, keening cry that bypassed every logical thought in Jasmine's mind and struck directly at something deeper. It was asking for help. For a long moment, Jasmine stood there, the rational part of her brain listing all the reasons why this was a terrible idea. This creature would grow, it would become dangerous, it might even kill her one day. Every tactical bone in her body told her to draw her sword and end this now, mercifully, before it suffered further. Instead, she heard herself say, "Come in." The dragon's eyes widened in surprise, an expression so human it was unsettling. Jasmine set down her mug and bent down, carefully scooping the creature into her arms. It was lighter than she expected, its body trembling with cold and exhaustion. She could feel its rapid heartbeat against her chest as she carried it inside. The cottage was warm, heated by a large fireplace that crackled cheerfully. Jasmine laid the dragon on a thick rug near the hearth, then quickly gathered supplies: water, bandages, herbs she'd collected for her own wounds. She worked with the efficiency of someone who had patched up countless injuries in the field. "Easy now," she murmured, gently examining the broken leg. The dragon flinched but didn't pull away. "This is going to hurt." She set the bone with practiced hands, ignoring the creature's whimpers of pain. Once it was splintered, she moved on to the wings, cleaning and treating the tears in the delicate membrane. The dragon watched her with those impossibly ancient eyes, as if trying to understand why this creature that should be its natural enemy, was helping it. 3 days passed before Kevin arrived. Jasmine's former partner in the mercenary business had retired to a small farm 2 valleys over, but they still checked on each other regularly. When he knocked on her door that morning, she hesitated before opening it. The dragon she'd started calling it Ember in her mind was curled up on the rug, sleeping peacefully. Kevin took one look at the creature and his hand went to his sword. "Jasmine, what in the 7 hells? Put it away, Kev," she said quietly, positioning herself between him and the dragon. "It's just a baby." "It's a dragon," Kevin said, his voice tight with tension. "Do you remember what one did to the garrison at Red Peak? Do you remember what we saw at Thornwood?" "I remember," Jasmine said, her voice hard. "I also remember being a scared kid in the slums, starving, and an old woman giving me bread when everyone else walked past. I remember you bleeding out in the marshlands, and a priest from an enemy faction saving your life. I remember humanity, Kevin, the kind that doesn't look at species or history but at the creature in front of you, asking for help." Kevin's jaw worked silently. He looked at the sleeping dragon, then back at Jasmine. Finally, his hand dropped from his sword. "You're insane." "Probably," she agreed. But he didn't leave. Instead, he pulled up a chair and sat down. "If we're doing this, we're doing it right. That wing needs better bracing, and dragons are carnivores. Do you even know what to feed it?" Over the following weeks, something remarkable happened. Ember grew stronger, her broken leg healing, her wings slowly mending. Kevin visited daily, bringing meat from his farm and helping Jasmine care for the creature. They trained Ember, teaching her boundaries, and, surprisingly, she understood no. She brought back killed prey instead of attacking livestock. She curled up by the fire in the evenings, listening as Jasmine and Kevin talked about their past battles, their lost friends, their regrets. The other villagers eventually found out. There were demands, threats, even an attempt by the local lord to force Jasmine to surrender the dragon. Each time, Jasmine stood firm, Kevin at her side. "You don't understand," she told the angry mob that gathered outside her cottage one frozen morning. "This isn't about being soft or foolish. This is about being human, really human. Our strength isn't in our weapons or our armies. It's in our ability to show mercy when everything tells us not to." It's in our capacity to look at an enemy and choose to see an individual. That's what separates us from monsters, not our species. The crowd eventually dispersed, grumbling but unwilling to challenge two legendary mercenaries years later. When a larger, older dragon attacked the valley driven mad by a cursed wound, it was Ember, now fully grown and magnificent, who drove it away. She returned to Jasmine's cottage, landing gently in the yard, and lowered her great head to nuzzle the old warrior's hand. Kevin, now white-haired but still sharp-eyed, watched from the porch. "You saved more than just her that night," he said quietly. Jasmine smiled, running her hand along Ember's scaled snout. "No," she corrected. "We all saved each other. That's what humans do best when we're at our best." And in that moment, with a dragon curled protectively around the cottage and two old warriors standing guard, the definition of humanity expanded just a little bit more.